Hello there and welcome to our Shield of the Sun video. In this video, what I'm about to do is cover some things involving doing things at people's expense. So to understand, there's been a lot of talk, about what is the matters pertaining to certain aspects of the law, and this aspect noted as fornication, and what is it to do things at people's expense. So we've explained some of that in other videos. So I'd like to explain some more of that in terms of its detailed descriptions in the law. So I would like for you to join me in Exodus chapter 22, where in verse 16 to verse 24, it talks about those matters in detail, very interesting. So I thought it'd be good to explain those matters biblically in accordance to what the Holy Spirit teaches regarding those matters and regarding the law and what is written. And so let's go into it. Let's go into chapter 22 in Exodus, and we're going to go into verse 16. And this is what we read. And if a man incite a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. So what does that mean? It means a woman that is available and you mate with her. And when you mate with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. So notice the words endow her to be his wife. It doesn't say she will be your wife. Okay, and that's not what that means. It doesn't mean if you have sex with a girl, or if a girl has sex with a guy, and this was consensual, like it's consensual, meaning she wants you and you want her, and you guys get together and have sex, then in all probability, it's what it's saying, she would be the first in line to be considered for your wife at that moment because you guys are getting along so famously. So to understand it, when you hook up with somebody, usually it's because you've already developed feelings for each other. You've already developed something about each other has drawn you to each other. There's a magnetic connection there. There's a connection that happens, and that connection manifests into feelings for each other, and then the feelings then burn within you, and you have sex. So therefore, endowed, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. He shall charm her. He shall do things that would invoke into her mind, this man is most likely or could be my husband. And thus, the feeling that she develops for you is to be respected by the person who had sex with her. This is law. This is what it actually means. So it means not to sleep with somebody and just use them. That whoever you sleep with has a connection to you, and the connection is that. It's a spousal connection. No matter if she is your spouse or not, you have a spousal bond connection to her, and thus it is teaching you to respect the people you've mated with. That's what that actually teaches you. So that you don't commit real fornication, which is to do it at their expense. Instead, it was already done, and the connection stands. The respect stands. If her father utterly refuse to give her unto him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins. Now, what does that mean? Let's say these two want to get together. Let's say they made it, the connection is solid, and he says to her, will you be my wife? And she says yes. And then the father, acting as a proverbial douchebag, or he is a douchebag, depending on where his decisions lean, decides to interfere in his son or in his daughter's relationship, and then tells his daughter, you are not to marry this man, and then breaks not only his daughter's heart, but breaks the man's heart as well, then you are to take currency, whatever money, whatever situation your hard self worked for, and in manliness, go to that other man and repay him for the damages you did to his heart. That's what that means. That means if you as a father break up a relationship that was not meant to be broken up, or if you as a mother break up a relationship that was not meant to be broken up, and these two found each other in the courses of life for which God has ordained for them to find themselves in, and they made it, they fall in love, they want to get together and get married, and then the father comes and says, no, he's not this, he's not that, he's not this, that, and this, and the mom goes, no, he's not this, he's not that, or maybe it's her, maybe the father, no, she's not this, and that, and mom's like, no, not her, anyone but her. When that attitude, rather if it's fostered by racism, rather if it's fostered by prejudice, rather if it's fostered by bigotry, rather if it's fostered by outright cruelty, rather than vanity or narcissism or any of that sort, when people, anyone, and especially in this case to say a relative, someone you're related to, comes and does that, and if it's a family situation where these two had a right to get married, and a member of that family, in this case the same father, goes to daughter, and this can also be anyone else, to say a relative goes and breaks this up, a blood relative or relative acknowledged as such, breaks that up, they owe that person money, is what the law is saying. It's saying that man whom you stole his wife away, for whom he was entitled to by endowment, by dowry, you owe him money. Meaning you stole something from him, now you need to give something up that is value to you and give that to him for repayment. So let's say if I fall in love with a girl and then some douchebag dude decides to snatch my spouse away or something like that, and that has affected me, you owe me money, is what the law says. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. So what does that mean? Kill some witches? No, that's not what that means. Does that mean burn them at the stake? No, that's not what that means. Does that mean throw stones at them? No, that's not what that means. Also, if there's any children watching, or if there's anybody in witchcraft watching, and you cannot handle this video, maybe it's a little perturbing and you don't understand where I'm about to come from, I would like for you to find a parent or a mature person to watch this video with. So if you're young out there and watching this video, please watch this with parents. And parents, if you've got any questions, you can leave me in the comment sections. If you're into witchcraft and you find this disturbing because you won't listen to the whole conversation, please listen to everything I'm about to say so you don't think I'm telling people to burn you at the stake, okay? Thank you. So now that we got that settled, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. So look at the first word, suffer. So what was happening that would have provoked this witch's death? What would have happened first that would have led to her death? Suffering. Suffering would have happened first. So therefore, it's not just go kill the witches. It's basically, it's factually this. If a witch goes into a community and uses the seer ability, uses spells, uses hexes, uses spiritual knowledge and spiritual force, and even spiritual empowerment on certain elemental levels to put thoughts into your head, to put emotional disturbances, to remote view your emotions, meaning the emotions of others to affect your emotions, who are causing suffering to men, women, and children by the magic, the sorcery, and the evil spirits they conjure, and using evils in order to cause suffering, rather by rumor, gossip, arson, vandalism, murder, destruction, and robbery, along with potions, spells, and the inducements of the seer ability to affect people's visions, thoughts, and minds. These witches, these types of persons who enter into hardcore Satanism are to be eliminated. They're not to live, meaning those committing crimes against you using supernatural ability, supernatural gifts, supernatural knowledge, like the seer ability to see into the sensorium of people, which is described in the Bible, and we have a lot of seers in our world today. Well, if they're doing things to cause suffering, you shall not suffer them to live. That's what the law means there. It doesn't mean you get to take out anyone you want to. It means they have to do something horrible. It means if they're causing suffering in the community based on another spiritual belief that is not in line with God, then then, when proven, they are to be stoned. That's what that means. So therefore, they got to do something, meaning they got to be hurting people. They're harming people. If they're harming people, you have to do this to them, according to the law. Whosoever lieth with a beast shall surely be put to death. So that's to have sex with animals. That's called bestiality. So when someone decides to have sex with their dog, and someone decides to have sex with their ox, and someone decides to have sex with an animal, they are to be put to death because of the fact that will create diseases, that creates mental illness, that's an abomination, that's utterly gross. I don't know who even comes up with that, but to understand, Satanists do, fallen angels teach their followers to have sex with animals, and they do it. And therefore, such persons become so abominized because of the mental illness they've already opened themselves up to by already doing that. This then will lead to persons spreading mental illness or diseases in the community, and thus that's why that had to happen to them. He that sacrificeth unto any god, save unto the Lord only, he shall be utterly destroyed. So notice it says destroyed, not death. So let's go into that. He that sacrificeth unto any god, that is to say, to give rituals to these gods, to give ceremony, to give oblation, to give offering, parts of your money, parts of your time, parts of this, parts of that, or to even offer a person or an animal. Now, if it's a person, that can also fall in line with murder, so there'd be extra charges on that person. Let's say it's an animal, then that's a disturbance within the environment. It is murder, but it's a murder on that principle of the environment, so it falls on the line of sacrificeth unto any god. He shall be utterly destroyed. That's to say, exposed for the activity, fired from any religious position or positions he is in. If he has anything within the trading system, the importing system, the exporting system, removed from that. If he holds anything with the priesthood, the temple, removed from that. I mean, if he's the guy that has to clean the water, remove him from that. If whatever currency, whatever he's making, he is to be destroyed. Families usually divvied up to indentured servitude due to the crimes and the curses if that is what's necessary. Usually, if he has a righteous brother, that brother would then take the wife and family into his home, or this will happen, or that will happen. If there's no way to recover them, then other things unfortunately might have to happen. But that person is to be destroyed, meaning he may or may not be stoned, depending on the measure of his crimes and how it's judged by the Levitical priesthood. And the final decision would fall with the high priest if a mutual decision has not been made. And then that person will be destroyed. He's to be economically, viably destroyed. Thou shalt neither vex a stranger nor oppress him, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. So that means no racism, no discrimination, no prejudice. We can't have prejudiced Israelites, we can't have prejudiced children of God, no prejudiced Christians, no racism for Christians, no discrimination for Christians, no prejudice for Christians. You can't be acting like that. Can't be doing that, okay? Can't have feelings and thoughts where you just like certain people and dislike certain people. So to understand it, thou shalt neither vex a stranger nor oppress him. That's to say someone you don't know. That doesn't mean he just came from another country. Well, it could mean that too, but it could also mean your neighbor. It could also mean the person you knew down the street, but you don't really know that because he's a stranger to you. Like if I walk down the street and see 9 people pass me by and I don't know them, what are they to me? They're strangers. I don't know them. They're strangers. So I'm not to vex them. I'm not to oppress them. To vex them is to say to talk bad about them that would compromise them, or to say things to them that will cause other people to believe things about them that isn't true, and thus that will cause harm to them mentally. It's to cause mental abuse to somebody. You're not to mentally abuse people, oppress them. You're not to oppose them in their work, or oppose them in their life, or oppose them in their happiness. You're not to vex them mentally or do anything to them physically. Just because you're not to attack people simply because you don't know them. That's against the law. Ye shall not afflict any widow or fatherless child. So when you see persons in straits like a widow, is to say she's living very poor because of parts of her family, like her husband, who probably was the bread earner, is to say this person has been reduced due to the lack of economy in their family, a lack of resources in their family, meaning they're suffering in poverty as a widow because death and situations that enable this. So when you see persons in a desperate situation or really tough situation, you're not to make that situation worse by making fun of the widow or prostituting the widow or telling the widow bad, giving widow false hopes, false dreams, false this, false. You're not supposed to do that. Or fatherless child. That's to say, there's a son out there with no father, or a daughter out there. That's to say, sons and daughters without masculine guidance and mentorship. So they're going to lack this, they're going to lack that, may not have a car, may not have this, may not have that, may not have this, because there's no strong father, no way of a provider to understand how to put the gifts of providing and understanding into the son. Now the son struggles, and then you got this and you got that and you got this because you were cool with your daddy, or you had mentorship, and then you see someone that didn't have that and you want to turn around and act like a jerk. Well, you're not supposed to do that. That's against the law. If thou afflict them in any wise, and they cry at all unto me, I will surely hear their cry, and my wrath shall wax hot, and I will kill you with the sword, and your wives shall be widows, and your children fatherless. So you wonder why so many neighborhoods go belly up. Well, to understand it, when you got people in the neighborhood doing stuff like that, then what happens is the stuff they do to those that are strangers, fatherless, widows, the vulnerable, those that don't see, when you do things at people's expense to people that don't see it coming, then when you're done doing all of that, then what happens is all your actions are done right back to you, and many times 77 times worse. Join me in prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us of our debts, as we forgive those who are our debtors. Lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil, for thou art with us. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory, forever and ever. In the name of Jesus Christ, the King of heaven. Amen. If you'd like to donate to Shield of the Sun, please do so using Cash App, the $, Shield of the Sun, spelled in small case letters closed together. I want to say God bless you to each and every one of you, and I shall see you soon.